Hey there and welcome back. In today's video, I'll be going over and reacting to Albion Online's upcoming updates and dev talk. SBI has been working consistently on improving player experience and the game's quality of life. The changes seem to be inspired by SBI's most recent updates to the Avalonian roads. Now before we jump into the video, make sure to join the Discord community where we have players from NA, EU, and Asia, and I always have 30-day premium giveaways every 2 weeks. Also, make sure to follow on twitch.tv/DonnyGGS. That's DonnyGG and the letter S. If you want to catch me live, not only will I have drops available, but you'll be able to earn channel points to redeem either 7 or 30-day premium. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the video.
Hello and welcome to another Albion Online Dev Talk. Paths to Glory has now been live for about a month, and many of you have already made very good progress on your journal completion. We've been monitoring the update, and despite seeing a few things we're going to improve here and there, we're pretty happy overall. In particular, the rebalancing of the roads of Avalon has made them far more competitive with the mists, which has led to a sustained increase of activity in the feature.
Alright, so first thing about the Avalonian roads, I do agree that there's more activity out there. However, I think that it's impacted solo players in a negative way, and it's helped out small kind of little ganking groups and allowed them to fight for chests because of the increase of the income and the resources. But overall, if you're a solo player, I think that the Avalonian roads has actually gotten worse for you, especially because they reduced the amount of combat fame that the mobs give. And I'm hoping with the upcoming patches that they fix that. But let's see what else they say here.
Both PvE and PvP playtime in the roads is up, which shows how the time invested in rebalancing and
Okay, so this is actually a prime example of how it goes in the Avalonian roads. So you think you have that 1v1 here.
PvP playtime in the roads is up,
However,
which shows how the time invested in rebalancing and
so you're going to end up being this guy here, and you're going to die. So if you don't have like a set that's extremely powerful, you're going to be the one that ends up dying every time. So you're better off kind of just trying to gather, trying to get pick what you can and kill mobs, or just go elsewhere. Because as of right now, for my testing, the Nightfall Abbeys are a lot better for you than the Avalonian roads if you're a solo player.
Working the feature benefits various different player groups. We also believe that having more players active in the roads of Avalon will make using them as a transport route more challenging, which will benefit the overall risk and reward balance of hideouts. So, what does this mean going forward? We're continuing to push for one game update per season, and for our next update, we've set our sights on updating the open world. Similar to what we've done with the roads, we want to improve the attractiveness of playing the open world in comparison to the mists, by rebalancing its rewards, reworking some content, and adding new features. Our key goals for the open world are: increase its attractiveness for solo players, make mid-sized group content more rewarding, increase player activity in the inner outlands, offer more challenging and rewarding PvE. So, how do we plan to achieve?
So I think this is a great update if they are actually going to make it better for solo players, because I think that the open world is actually a lot better and more fun than going into the mist, especially because in the mist, all you're pretty much trying to do is either rat somebody or get killed by somebody in 8.4 gear. Other than that, you're either looking for a Nightfall Abbey to go in there to try to make some actual combat fame. So the open world used to be one of the best places where you could get combat fame and silver, and I think to this point and to this day that it still gives you more silver when it comes to mob kills. So if they're able to kind of maximize this and make areas where there's going to be rewards for solo players, I think it's going to be a lot better, because there's going to be a lot more people out there. Now, this might open up more opportunities for people trying to gank, but I'm hoping that they actually make it where it discourages that and maybe allows solo players to have a safer way to do that in the open world, especially in the black zone.
Achieve those goals. To make the open world more attractive, we're planning to add new PvE objectives for solo players. In addition, we're working on new mechanics to bring you deeper into the outlands more quickly, reducing the risk of getting ganked near portal cities. For group
I think that's huge because right now all you have is the invisibility potion, and you get about a zone and a half out. And usually, the further you go out, the better because there's going to be less people. But sometimes you'll run into areas where there's going to be a lot of guilds kind of just doing objectives. So if they're able to provide you a way to kind of maybe teleport or go to different areas from the portal zone instead of having to kind of travel there the entire way as a solo player, that's definitely going to help you in getting there safely. And if hopefully they have a way to get back safely as well, rather than having to run all the way through. But once again, if you do find anything nice out there, you can always just portal back and take the silver cost loss.
Content, we're primarily planning to boost the rewards for group random dungeons, whilst making sure grouping up to play these is worthwhile. We'll also take a look at other group content, of course. To increase player activity in the inner outlands, we're planning to boost PvE rewards and difficulty based on the cluster quality. So clusters in the innermost outlands would contain some of the highest value and highest challenge PvE in the game. This should lead to higher quality clusters becoming more competitive and reducing competition for PvE content near the portal cities. To offer
So this is what I was talking about earlier. So I'm hoping that with them creating this area for those smaller groups for group play, that it allows solo players to have the other zone without having to worry about it, without having to worry about getting ganked constantly. Now I'm sure you're still going to come across people, but it's not going to be as rewarding to them as if they were in this area that is designed for maybe group players. So that's definitely something that I'm hoping works out, and we'll definitely have to test when it comes out in the test realms. But let's see what else they have here.
a more challenging and rewarding PvE, we're planning to revisit the power curve for open world and random dungeon mobs. Essentially, while the player power has consistently been improving with the addition of elite levels, the mastery bonus, new enchantment levels, additional specialization bonuses, and awakened items, the mob power hasn't been adjusted for a very long time. What we're looking to do is to increase the power of higher tier mobs whilst simultaneously increasing their rewards, which would finally bring back some higher end PvE to the open world. Because most
I think that is a great update because as of right now, you can fairly kill everything very easily, even with like 4.1 gear, especially after they made the changes where Tier 4 now has access to all the abilities, including weapons. And I think it's cool because now you can go as a solo player and try to find these mobs that are going to give you even more rewards than before. So the open world is looking like it's going to be king again, and we'll see what they say.
of these improvements affect the Outlands, we're also considering some changes on the Royal Continent, which would make some Tier 5 and Tier 6 content available in the blue and yellow zones respectively, expanding the content new players can explore before taking a deep dive into Albion's full loot PvP zones. In
I think that's good for new players. The only thing is, I hope that people aren't exploiting it. As far as like, I know right now you can go into tier 4 static dungeons with higher level gear and kind of just solo everything. So hopefully that it's something that those players are going to be able to actually participate in instead of just having it packed with people AoE clearing everything, and then they're kind of just stuck with having to go out into the open world anyway, into the black zone.
addition to this focus on the open world, we're of course working on other things too. We're planning to further extend the journal with 2 additional categories. We're also working on a more customizable HUD, savable settings presets which you can switch between using a hotkey, and we're developing additional inventory management options as well as other convenience features many of you have been asking for.
Yeah, so those quality of life features, they're always good to see that they're making those changes. You always want the game to feel like it feels new or it feels like they care. And sometimes games, or especially Albion, has things in certain ways. It's like, why is that even there? Why can't I move this or why can't I change this like other games? So it just makes it seem like they're constantly working and improving the game. So I think those updates, especially with the UI changes, is going to be great.
Of course, we're also working on the next batch of crystal weapons. Finally, we're working on technical advancements like improving the rendering performance of the user interface and upping the cheat protection for the game to ensure a fair playing field now and into the future. All in all, we're pushing further on our mission to make Albion the best sandbox MMORPG out there.
All right, perfect. So I think actually this update is really, really strong. It's going to help solo players. It's going to make it better for smaller groups. The new zones, the new protection. They mentioned that they were going to make changes to group dungeons as well, which is great because I know there's guilds that like to go out there and do group dungeons. I wish they would have fixed solo dungeons for solo players. I focus a lot on solo players because I'm a solo player, and on top of that, I feel like the majority of players that play this game are solo players, even though Albion is kind of forcing you into becoming a actual group player, join a guild, or it wants you to do that because if not, you're not going to benefit. I think this is going in the right direction. And I also think that it's awesome that they're still working on their anti cheat because you see so many games that there's just so many cheaters, including this one. I think there's stuff that you can buy that shows you where people might be. So that's definitely something that I think they're moving in the right direction. So overall, I think it's a great update and I'm excited. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and also make sure to join the Discord community where we have 30-day giveaways every 2 weeks. Like always, stay epic, stay legendary, and I'll see you in the next one.